Welcome to Amy's Crafts and Things. I'm Amy. In today's tutorial for PE Design 11 and Palette 11, I'm going to show you how I created a double-sided gift tag. This is done in a multiple hoop setting, so I will need to create two different designs so that I can have a double-sided gift tag. For the first side, we're going to go into our Home tab and we will click on Shapes. I'm going to choose the circle. Then I will take and right click, hold my shift key down, and I will click and drag out a circle. Once I get it to the size that I would like, I'm going to go into the Home tab, choose Arrange Copy, click on Circle Copy. A box will pop up in the right hand portion of your screen that says Circle Copy. This is where you can choose the arrangement of your design. I'm going to leave everything the way that it is, and I'm going to choose a number of, let's do 7 circles in my circle copy. I'll go back to my workspace. I will right click and I will drag out my circle, and then I will go ahead and rotate it to make sure it's how I like it. Go ahead and left click to select it, and it will generate all of your circles. From here, I'm going to go back into my Shapes tool and I'm going to draw another circle for the center. Hold my shift key down and I'm going to go ahead and draw out another circle. So I would like to have everything centered, so I will go home, click on the last circle I just made, and I will arrange that and move it to the center. And then I will go ahead and do the same thing with the first set of circles that I originally created, and I will go ahead and select those and arrange those to the center. That way I have everything centered. From here, I'm going to go into the Modify Overlap. So I want to make sure I have everything selected this time. Select All, Home tab, Edit section, Modify Overlap, scroll down to Merge. And I'm going to merge all of these little pieces together to create one design. Now that everything is merged together, I'm going to resize it just a little bit. I am using a 4x4 hoop, so you can size this to whatever you would like. Let's go ahead into the Shapes tab and I will remove the fill stitch so I have the outline. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go home, I'm going to copy and paste my outline, so I have a placement and then I have a tack down. The second shape that we just pasted, we're going to go into the Shape tool. We're going to change these actually into running stitches, and I do want to change the color so each one is different. So I will go ahead and make this one green, and I will make the first one a running stitch, and I will make that one black. You can choose whatever colors that you would like. I just typically like to choose black as my placement. And then I have green for a tack down. This is the back side of your tag, so you can certainly take and import a design here if you would like. So let's go home. We'll go ahead and go into Import from the design library or from folder, wherever you're going to grab your design from. Let's just go ahead and go into Holidays. And we'll just choose a cute little gift and import. And we can certainly resize it to fit inside of our gift tag. And we'll go to Arrange and move to Center. think I'm going to just nudge it down just a little bit, because when I put in my hanging spot for my gift tag, I just want to make sure that I'm not cutting into my design. So I will go ahead and make sure that those are safe. I'm just moving it down a little bit. This will be the back side of your design. So we'll go ahead and stitch it out and kind of talk through it. In the sewing simulator, we have our placement, and then it will be our tack down, and then it will be our design. After you take this off of your machine, you're going to actually cut on the line that is sewn, so that when we do the front side, we already have it ready to go to be attached in the final steps of sewing out the front side. Okay, so then you're going to want to save this. So we'll just go ahead and go home, and we will save as. And you can name it then whatever you would like. We'll call it Gift 1. And then we'll say back side and say save. Now with your design already still up on the screen, I'm going to remove our gift tag, our gift box. Click delete. I am not going to touch any of the placement of this portion of our design. I'm going to just leave it the way that it is, but I'm going to decorate it with a name, so I can go up into my text tool. I will click on the letter A on the left hand side, and I will choose a font that I like, and then I will go ahead and just type in a name, resize it accordingly. And then if I want to decorate it, I can certainly decorate this too by going home. Maybe I want to click on shapes, and maybe I want to add just some polka dots around each side. So I'll go ahead and click and drag our little dots. And I will just make those as a filled stitch without a running stitch around it. You can decorate yours however you would like. Change the color, maybe to blue, I don't know. And then you can just go ahead, and with it selected, you can go home, you can copy and paste, and then move them around to where you like them. Being mindful that when we do the satin edging around the gift tag, that we don't run into our polka dots. Go ahead and paste. And we'll paste one more time. And then the next thing that we will do is we will go ahead and click on the sewing order on the first outline. We'll go home and select it, and we'll copy and paste that. Copy and paste, and that will put it at the bottom. And we'll go ahead, and with it selected, we'll go up into the Shapes tab. We will change the running stitch into a zigzag stitch, and we'll change the color. And then from here we'll go over to sewing attributes, and we'll make sure that our zigzag width is about 3.5 millimeters to 4.0 millimeters. You can have it be whatever you like. Those are just the parameters that I prefer. The final step that I'm going to do is I have to create a hanging hole for my design. So I'm going to go ahead and click up into our measuring tool up above to bring down a guide bar for me to guide my center of my hanging hole. To create the hanging hole, I will go into the Home tab to the Shapes tool, and I'm going to go ahead and click and shift and hold my right mouse button down and draw out my circle. This needs to be a running stitch. And then I will go home and I will choose a size. I will choose a size of 5.5 millimeters. I will maintain aspect ratio marked checked and click OK. I will use this line to cut out my hole in. I'll just move it down here just a little bit. Then from here, I'm going to go to the Home tab with it selected. I'm going to copy it and paste it one more time. I will go to my sewing order and I will scroll all the way down, and you'll be able to see the last 3 objects that we have created. I'm going to select on the first 2, so number 13 and 14, and I am going to change that color to something different. And then I will change that to a zigzag. And I will go into my sewing attributes and change the zigzag width to about 1.8. You can choose somewhere between 1.5 and 2.0 millimeters. And then from here I will go into the Home tab. With it selected, I will choose the size button in the edit section. And I want to make that about a 1 millimeter bigger in space between the circle and the inner circle. So this is at 7.4. What happens if we go 9.5 millimeters and we maintain aspect ratio? We'll hit preview. So if you look, if not quite larger enough, I want about 1 millimeter space between the yellow one and the red one. So let's go ahead and change this to 10.5. Preview. And that's a little better. Let's do 10.8. So what I'm going for is the yellow one I'm going to use as my cutting line. And it's just kind of like my safety zone. So if I cut on the yellow stitching on the inner part of that circle, it's totally fine. I just want to be sure that I'm staying away from the satin stitching for my hole. So let's go ahead and click OK. And if you're unsure, you can certainly go down into the right hand side of your screen on the lower bottom there. Zoom in a little bit. And then in your tools, where your text tool is, if you go to the right and there's a measuring stick there, if you click on that, you can go ahead and right click and drag and right click, and it will measure out that space for you. And it looks like it is just about 1 millimeter, which is totally within the parameters that I'm going for. So I'll go ahead and hit select. And then in the sewing order, you have your zigzag stitch. You have 2 of them. The second one I am going to change into a triple bean stitch. This just gives my hole just some dimension, like that. Now I will go ahead and go to the Home tab. In the Tools section, you have the Zoom in, the Zoom out, and if I click on this one on the right hand side, it will just put everything back center into my screen. And aesthetically, I don't really like the placement of where this hole is, so I'm going to go ahead and select all of its parts. Right click, select the object, and then I will go home, and I want to group it first because if I move it, I don't want to lose any of its parts by accident. So we'll go ahead and click it, and then I'm just going to move it over a little bit. And then I will remove the guide bar by just clicking on it, and it will remove it. So I will go ahead and run through the sewing simulator and walk us through the steps here. So we're going to have our placement, and then we'll have our tack down. Then we'll have our design elements. And then after the design elements, we are going to remove it from our machine. We're going to turn our hoop upside down. We are going to place our part to the back side of our tag to match the stitching of our placement line, and we'll tack it down by using your spray adhesive or however you want to tack it down, because this step here will sew the two pieces together when you put your hoop back on your machine. And then after it sews out this, it will sew your hole. Don't forget to save this as well so that you can use it in future projects. So we will save as. If you click save, it will overwrite your first one, and we don't want to do that, so make sure you click save as, and then you can go ahead and rename this front side. And click save, and there you go. So now if we go over into our import patterns screen from Design Library, and we just go into our folder, you locate the folder that your design is saved in, you'll be able to see that you have both of your parts. You have the front side and the back side. So you will stitch these out each individually. Thank you for watching. And that is how you make a double-sided gift tag using PE Design 11 and Palette 11. If you have future tutorial suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell to be notified when future tutorials are posted. Thank you for watching.